Aston, what was a good map? I'm trying to remember.
Let me have a look.
How was Hanamura?
Hanamura was good. Lijiang was good. So
Okay, hello?
I'm kind of
I would choose Hanamura personally because I
Hanamura.
don't think
Yeah, I
we've
was
been
thinking
over.
between Hanamura and Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, either one of them is good. To be fair.
I don't remember Hanamura exactly.
So is the VOD you playing Sigma Ball?
No, the VOD. Do you want me to DM it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. The VOD. I'm trying to decide which map, whether we look at Hanamura. I guess we can just look at Hanamura. I think I played Baptiste.
Okay, that is no problem.
Yeah. It's timestamp for Hanamura is around like an hour and 5 minutes or so.
Okay. No, 4 minutes, I see.
Oh, it's not long at all. It's actually very short. Oh, okay. I think it was a roll.
Okay.
I don't remember it exactly. But if it is a roll, then we can look at Hollywood. If I remember correctly, that was a better map. It's the last one.
Better. Yep. Okay, I got it. Right, the problem is, right, if I'm drawing, you can't hear sound.
True.
I'm just going to have to not draw, basically.
That's fine.
And if I do have to draw, I'll have to quickly swap it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, right, you need to establish what your team comp is, right, when you're starting. Okay, so obviously if you're Baptiste, just from you telling me Baptiste, what's the team comp's playstyle?
Slower and more spammy.
It's a spam comp, right?
Yeah.
Baptiste is spam comp. Anna is, well, technically all three, but mainly rush,
Yeah.
right? Or dive.
Mainly Russian.
And your Zen, right, is usually going to be dive or spam again. There's always two options they can go in. But from Baptiste, right, this is going to be a spam comp. Now, did I go through this before about the different types of comps and stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Dive, spam, and rush.
Yeah. Do you remember how spam plays? Like, what's their goal? What's spam's goal at the end of the day?
Spam's goal is just to basically keep distance, play slow, and stay in the poke phase for as long as possible.
So that's not really okay. So those were their kind of goals, but that's how they play. Their actual main goal, right, is to, as you said, the last bit, right, stay in the poke phase as long as possible. But a better way to explain that would be basically destroy the enemy's shields and kill them before they get to you, right? That's your main goal. Think of that as your goal. So using that knowledge, right, that's going to be your priority, right? If you're like the flex support in spam, right? The whole point of the flex support is you have utility, but you can also deal a lot of damage, right? Your output and damage is quite a lot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you're also the main healer as well. You're healing the most, right? The main healer. Well, okay. Don't get confused with terms. The main healer is like the Lucio, the Mercy, right?
Yeah, I'm the main source of healing.
Yeah, the flex healer or the off support, right, is the main source of healing. Yeah, and also there to have the most utility, right? So either damage if your team needs it, kills, whatever, right? But so you're basically kills and healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas the main support is there for actual, like movement, revives, damage boosts, kind of more utility. Do you see what I mean? But they're also there to ult track. They're also there to kind of like keep follow the you on the support, right? The off support. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So once you know that, you kind of need to know. I know Baptiste is a really hard character. In my opinion, he's the hardest support to play properly because you need to be able to heal and damage at the same speed together. But that's like really high level. You won't get to that level yet, and it'll take a while. But after just playing him for a while, you'll get to that level. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely something you should. Oh, I skipped it too far. Definitely practice Baptiste in comp because he is definitely not easy, right? Yep. And first of all, right, what's the benefit of Baptiste? What's the benefit he has over like an Anna?
Lamp, I guess.
So yeah, he has lamp, but before the game's even started, what's the benefit? And you're on that benefit right now.
Oh, high ground. I have
Yeah.
the boots, my
You
movement.
can, yeah, exactly, right? You can get to high ground whenever you want, and if someone dives you on high ground, you can drop down, and then you can boots back up to high ground. So, and you have basically it's an unlimited no cooldown high ground achiever, but it's not instant. You have to like charge it up, right? So it's a bit slow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So remember from that, obviously you always start on high ground. So the high ground spot you have here, I like it, but there's a problem, I'd say, right? It's kind of in view of the enemies and not in
And
view
not
of
so
your
much for my
teammates.
team.
And if you go to heal your teammates, what are you now leaving?
The high ground.
Cover, cover. You can heal your teammates from up here, of
Yeah.
course, but to heal them, you have to walk forwards. And if you're doing that, you're leaving cover. Do you see what I mean? You
Correct.
can't heal them from the high ground, right? So that's what I don't like about the spot. What would a better position be?
To the left side. There's the left high ground.
In
to
the
the left.
window, the left side
Yeah.
in the window, right? Anna would hold at the bottom where the health kit is, but you could hold in the window to the left side, yeah, to your literally to your left window behind you. And also, what that means is you can drop down to grab the health kit if you need to, right? Just jump out of the window and go to the health kit, and then you can boots back up. Why is high ground better than being on low ground?
As Baptiste or just in general?
Just in general.
In general, it's harder for people to get to me. I have just like natural cover. I can just back off normally, and I'm in cover. And
Only
for
if they're below
Baptiste,
you, but yeah.
true, yeah. And for Baptiste, it makes it easier to heal your allies when they're under
Makes
you.
it easier to use projectile moves, so heal allies, throw lamps, whatever, right? And obviously you can see over cover. So from that, you can tell easily that there's loads and loads and loads of advantages to high ground over low ground, right? Now, the benefit of Baptiste is he can play in the window to your left. If he gets damaged, he can drop to the health kit. If you were Anna, you'd have to play on low ground because you want to be next to the health kit. And you'd have to walk all the way around to go up to that window in the high ground, right? And it's going to waste time. There's no point, right? The time it wastes is too much. Anna's just stay on the low ground at the bottom, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you can jump up to this place where you are now if you're going for like DPSs. But in my opinion, this place where you are now is only really good if you're shooting someone in the window in front, right? Let's go up. Can you know the window at the top right?
Yeah, top right window,
right?
yeah.
That's when it's good because you have that cover. If they're going main or they're where the echo was then, you have no cover. And you can see what just happened there, right? Because you had no cover, you get shot.
I'm forced
And
to back out.
yeah, exactly, right? You're not forced to back out, especially because like you're just forced to get healed and drop down. You can go back up and that's absolutely fine, right? Because you have super boots whenever you want. But what I'm trying to say is you're in vision, so any burst or any combination of burst from the enemy can kill you, right? And that's already should be risky enough. That's why I don't like that spot up there unless you're trying to like 1v1 someone at that window at the top right. Yeah, that they come through. It's usually Hanzos that go there.
Yeah, okay. So normally
Okay.
I would just, in this case, I would normally just play on left side. Because I'm
Left
out
side,
of
either
LOS
in.
of the enemy team, but in LOS of my team.
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my mic. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
so
okay.
left side or in the window is if you want to have a bit of both, you know, the DPS and the heal. And on the
or
bridge
just
if
on
you
that
just want to
bridge.
stick to heal, right? When is it better to be like on the bridge where and no enemies can see you and you're just sticking to healing? When is that better?
I guess.
Might be the answer might be never is better, but you try and guess.
I mean, I would say best would be if they've already pushed past the choke.
Yep. So, well, would you even need to be there? But yeah, I can see what you mean. You can rotate to there, right? And sometimes rotating to there if you need a better angle for people at main, you know, can be better. So yeah, I'll give you that, right? What I was gonna say as well is if you are against a widow and you don't want to play next to your Orisa, right? Because the enemies might run into you. So a good example of that is if the enemy has a rush comp with a widow, right? Do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah,
So
like
rush comp, it
not
means
happening
if they rush into your Orisa, she's dead. If the Orisa's on low ground, right? So you don't want to play with her. And obviously you don't want to play in the window because then the widow will just snipe you instantly, right? So that's when you'd play on that bridge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So insta-kill snipers when mainly Widow. Hanzo, you can actually strafe him in and out of the cover, and you can kill him like fine, especially from this spot here. You can even if you just pressure him out, it's absolutely fine. It's risky, but it's better to kind of pressure out Hanzo by shooting at him than just leaving him, right? Whereas with Widow, it's like she doesn't even have to charge up just a shot. She just waits and then she insta kills you. Right? Widow is way more of a threat than Hanzo. Yeah. Especially with the projectiles, like time of it flying through the air, you can dodge all of Hanzo's projectiles as long as you're right next to cover and you go into cover as he releases his arrow. Whereas Widow, you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're very scared or there's a really good Widow, or even let's say there's a really good Hanzo, right, and he's just like killing you, right?
Yeah,
That's when you'd go to the bridge to your left. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And what'd you say? Sorry.
I said, like, why even take the risk?
I mean, yeah, but there is a reason to take the risk. There is. If you're against a Hanzo who's, like missing his shots or he's not, maybe he's not warmed up, even if it's a really good Hanzo, right? It's better to actually shoot him and peek and pressure him to get him to just run away, right? I know in his mindset, Hanzo's might be like, oh, I'm just going to kill this Baptiste, right? But if you're really good at corner peeking with Baptiste by going around the corner and just bursting him and then hiding as soon as he releases the arrow, right? And then also jumping as you come out of the corner so he can't predict where your head's going to be. If you can do that, it's actually better to pressure an enemy Hanzo, especially if you don't have a Sigma, because usually a Sigma on your team would just shield him and then can pressure him out. If you don't have a Sigma, it is better to pressure him because then he gets scared and he runs away and he can't use this like good position. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll give you a really good tip for this if you're scared of peeking him because as you said there, you're just like, why even risk it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do it 1 or 2 times until he realizes that you're there. Okay. If he's not looking at you or he hasn't seen you, then pressure him out. And then once he looks at you, you can see him turn towards you usually, right? Once he does that, then drop down or don't peek him anymore. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when it's better, right? To do just the first few times to pressure him out, because that initial pressure might scare him off straight away, or it might actually get him killed if you combine it with like teammates' bullets. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But like a really good example, by the way, of Hanzo going up there and a good time to peek him, you should definitely do it at least once. And the reason for that is because imagine if the Hanzo goes in that window and starts shooting at your Hanzo, right? That's the best time ever to peek him because he's not even looking at you. He's shooting at your Hanzo, and the bullets you put on him might be enough for your Hanzo to win that fight. Do you see what I mean? So don't just hide immediately against Hanzos because that might be enough to help your Hanzo win the fight against the enemy Hanzo. The problem with Widow is it's instant. Widow's grapple up there, go for 1 bullet, and then back away, right? And you're not even gonna have a time to take that fight or even do a 1v1. She's just gonna get out of there or instantly kill you. See what I mean? So Widow is the only one where it's like that. And also Ashe with a mercy. If it's Ashe without a mercy, fight her. If it's Hanzo, again, check who he's going on and help that fight. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, if he's on me,
sorry,
if he's on me, don't take the duel unless I can, like, confidently just straight
from
it.
But usually, yeah. If he's on you, pretty much don't take the duel and just hide, right? Hide around the corner and just wait for him to run away. And if he's not on you, take the duel. But how do you know if he's on you or if he's not on you? What's the first thing you need to do to actually know if he's on you or not?
I mean, you can almost see if he's looking in my direction, but either
exactly scouting. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say. So at least be in that position and look to see him go up there. Don't just hide from him from the start of the map because you're expecting someone to go in that window. That's playing too passive. You have to actually be able to scout it and like peek around the corner or look at him through that, the window you'd be on the left, anything like that, just to see him there. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why also starting in the window to the left-hand side is better than starting up here. Because if you're in that window and you see it's a Widow, and you immediately go to the bridge. If you see it's a Hanzo, you can drop down and jump up to this new spot or fight him from the window instead. See what I mean? If you're good at long-range engagements. Yeah? Anyway, I know that was a long time just to go through that, but it is really important to kind of know who your kind of like scary enemies are. And honestly, any other enemy is not scary to you. If you corner peek, right, from high ground, so in and out, when they're shooting at you, they're going to waste their time and they're just going to stop doing it. And when they stop shooting at you, you can just stay in the open and just shoot, heal nonstop as like a consistent heal and damage. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's the problem with you at the moment?
I'm
Your
kind of
position.
just playing with my Arissa, yeah.
Yeah, right. So playing with your Orisa is not bad, especially if they do have snipers or DPS that are actually dealing damage to you a lot. The problem is, what's their team comp?
They're running a rush comp, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and rush comps like to run into Orisa. If you're playing with her, they'll run into you. I know they don't want to run into you. You're not their initial target. Up.
Yeah,
But
I'm just like collateral damage, basically.
exactly. And also if you're there, someone might just get a shot on you. You're in their vision. Do you see what I mean? That you're there, you've taken their attention. That's enough for you to die, just taking their attention. Obviously, the difference between you and the Orisa is you have 3 times less health. So it will make a difference. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, have we got someone new in the chat, by the way?
It's
Is this
It's only Sponks.
Okay.
He's just coming to see.
Oh, okay, fine. I thought it was another player like that I could go through or something. Cool. Anyway, right. What do you think I'm going to say now?
bad positioning.
This position, right,
Incredibly
is
risky
awful.
with
Why?
no,
Why is
like-
this awful?
I mean, there's a very high risk with little. There's
But-
literally nothing I could gain from this position.
Right. Exactly. I mean, okay, don't say there's nothing you can gain, because the problem is I've coached some people, right? And I say there's nothing you can gain from this position. And they think, well, there is, because I can gain some like damage or ult charge, stuff like that. It's not that there's nothing you can gain. The point is here, right, is you're in way, way, way too high of a risk, right? It's just too high of a risk. You can still gain stuff, right? But this is like way above your risk potential, right? Way above your risk like threshold. Do you see what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
And the main reason for that is because who are you in front of here? You're in front of your whole team. You are closer to the enemy. You are closer to the enemy team than your Orisa. And you know that's wrong, right? You should always, always be behind your tanks as Baptiste. See what I mean?
Yep.
Either in the back line or the middle line. Front line is always your tanks. Middle line is usually your DPS. Sometimes your DPS go in the front line as well on the same like line. Think of it as a line, and there's an invisible line on your tanks, right? And your tanks are the front line. It's like that's why it's called front line, right? Then the middle line is where your DPS are. That's in the middle, and the back line is again a line from your supports that goes all the way along it. As long as you're along that line, you're on the back line. Do you see what I mean?
Mhm.
Do you know can you visualize that? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
visualizing 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and where are you right now?
I'm in the front line.
Yeah, exactly, because you're on the same line as the Orisa who's on your right.
Yeah.
And the line is always in relation to where the enemies are, right? If the enemies are like, let's say to your right now on the point, the line would be in the relation from them to your Orisa and then back from then on. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
And also you change the line. If you are the back line, you're changing the line. But yeah, this position is bad. So where should you have been instead, by the way? Where could you have been instead?
I mean, I could have been in the window, and then
Yeah,
as I see them,
you could have been in the window this whole time and shot them. As they went inside there, right? It is not your job, and it is not anyone's job to go and shoot them while they're inside that building. If they're rush and you're spam, it is not any of your playstyles to go and shoot them while they're inside that building they are now, right? It is the only thing you need to do as a spam comp is run away and go even further away, rotate, right? Because as I said, what's the whole point of a spam comp is to get as far away as possible and on high ground, right? Does that make sense? So
Yep.
if you guys had like a rush comp or like a dive comp, yes, dive comps zap them as they're rotating through, because they know dive comps that if they get rushed, they can just jump away, right? Whereas if you get rushed as spam, you guys die. Do you see what I mean? It's usually whatever comp is stronger. And technically, if you guys had rush against their rush and they were inside the building, you could rush them inside the building and win because it's even. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And maybe you would only rush them if you had better close range engagers. So if you had a rush comp that was the same as theirs, but you had Reaper instead of their Echo, rushing into them when they were inside that building would be better. So the whole point is you only want to go somewhere if it's kind of how your comp plays against the enemy comp. And as we've just gone through, the enemy has rush, you guys have spam, so don't go inside to deal damage to them while they're inside. The whole goal you have is to get as far away as possible and let them come to you. That's your goal. Let them come to you. So go away. So make that distance the furthest possible. See what I mean?
Yep.
Right? That's why that position was bad. So what you could have done is gone in the window at the top left, right? And as soon as you see them go inside this building, you know, that's when you start to rotate because you think, okay, they can now get to me if they go up the stairs, right? I'm going to rotate and flip. Where's now a good position to go as Baptiste?
Behind me, like on the platform, or even
On top of the
uh,
building. Yeah, you know where the platform is behind
Yeah.
you? Why not go on top of the roof of that building? No one can kill you up there. And because it's the highest point of the map, you have infinite cover because, as you said, you can just walk backwards and the people are always below you. That's also the benefit, by the way, of places that are the highest point on the map because everywhere is underneath them, which means you always have cover if you just walk backwards and crouch or whatever. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right? So that's a good spot. What's a problem though with that spot? It's not perfect. What's a problem with it?
It would be harder for me to heal people on point, and it would be somewhat difficult for Mercy to peel for me if like Echo went for
No,
me.
I think it's easier
And
for Mercy to peel for you, right? By the way, that's another thing I was going to say. If you have a Mercy on your team, the higher you are, the easier it is for her to peel to you, right? Because if you're really low, she might be like, you might be below her and there might be something in the way. If you're really high up, usually she can see you. Okay, it's not really to do with height, it's to do with if you're in the open or not. If you're inside around a corner or something like that, really hard for her to peel for you. If you're in the open, it's fine, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So being that high up, or not that high up, in the open on top of the roof is actually fine for Mercy to peel for you. The main thing I wanted to say is what you said initially, right? Harder to heal teammates, and therefore it's harder to damage, like, who?
the enemies.
Exactly, right? Simple as that. If it's harder to heal teammates, it's harder to damage the enemies. That's the only disadvantage of it. But bear in mind, you're Baptiste. You can always drop down, right? And then go back up there if someone dives you. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, the platform is good to start on, and you can always go back up, right? To that point whenever you want. If someone like dives you like a tracer, that's usually what happens, by the way. If you go on a platform and you're Baptiste and a tracer comes after you on Hanamura, you'd go onto the roof and then she wouldn't be able to kill you anymore. See what I mean?
Yep.
But you'd have to tell your team that there's also a tracer in your backline because she might just ignore you and then go after like your other tanks or whatever, DPS or whatever. Anyway, let's see where you go. Okay, so looks like the enemies. Can you decide from now, just from what I've just played there, can you guess what they're going to do? What's their game plan here?
I mean, either they're just gonna rush straight onto point, like through my Orisa, or go top,
Yep.
and then onto point.
Good, that's good. I was trying to do a trick question. I was trying because I was hoping you would say like one thing, and I was like, how can you know that, right? They're still in there; they can do whatever. But that's good that you know that they can do either. So you have to prepare for both scenarios, and the only way you can do that is by just going as far away as them as possible.
Yeah.
You don't need to know if you're going on the platform, if you're going on the high ground, just far away of them as possible. And honestly, you should probably start on high ground as Baptiste. Always be ready on a high ground position because it's just so easy to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do it here. Good. Okay. Right. Let's go back a bit. Swatch again. So what went wrong here?
That I went onto point.
Sorry?
Kind of that I dropped down into point.
Yep, that's
into
panic
danger,
with
basically.
Baptiste, and this is bad, right? Don't drop down onto point. I know the reason for you to do. Sorry, the reason that you did this was because the Orisa was out of your line of sight here. Remember, your right clicks have splash, and also if you do drop down to get there, as soon as she comes back, I want you to go back up. The first and biggest mistake I see is Baptiste is them Baptiste panicking about their position and just completely going in like the wrong spot or dropping down too much because they're worried that they're not going to be like in a good position to heal someone. Just calm down and hold down right click, right, and just aim. That's all you need to do as Baptiste, okay? Calm down, stay calm in your position, hold down right click and aim. If you think they're critical like that, what can you do?
Toss a lamp.
Yep, toss a lamp. And if they basically if there was a like if there's a scenario where you toss a lamp and they're like, oh, why did you waste your lamp, right? You could literally just say, well, you're critical, I thought you were going to die, right? I thought you were going to get bursted, right? As long as you're in a position where you could have healed them the whole time, or you could have splash healed, because you can still heal this Orisa now if you get the splash and you slightly move to the left. But dropping down isn't terrible here. It's just the Orisa, you know the Orisa is going to come into your vision, so you need to go back immediately. This is the Mercy's fault. Why is it the Mercy's fault right now?
Because she's on the other end of the choke and she's in the front line.
She did a super jump, right? when it's obviously terrible because it's easier for her to get hit in this scenario, right? And she's actually got stuck on the other side of the wall. So if Mercy dies here, this is not your fault. But if you're scared she's going to die, what can you do?
Toss the
If she
lamp.
makes a mistake like that and you're scared she's going to die, toss a lamp right at the entrance to the point and she can glide through the lamp. Does that make sense? But yeah, this position you have now, what don't I like about it, right? You're not on high ground anymore, okay?
Yeah.
But anyway, the Mercy survived. You didn't even need to lamp her. Mercy survived, and even though the Mercy made the mistake and should have died, right? She flew back and survived, and so it didn't really matter. But yeah. So anyway, now the platform, by the way, is probably a worse position. Why?
Because I'd be shooting through those little
Yep.
gaps in the windows and probably miss.
Yep. So
most
your
shots.
teammates basically have come too far back, and the position you're in right now is great. Yeah. By the way, there's one thing though. Actually, let's continue going for a bit. Can I like? I talk a lot, so I'm going to just slow it down a tiny bit. Why are you super jumping her?
Probably because I was thinking of going onto that high ground above me or next
Why
to me
is
right
that a bad idea?
Because I can't see anyone, and I would
Yep.
also peek the window possibly and get shot.
Yeah, it's
By
not
echo.
good. So, well, to be fair, you can peek stuff. You can peek stuff just once to give yourself scouting. As long as you're not against Widow, it's fine to do it once. Okay, just to give
Okay.
yourself information and damage. But the main reason why this is bad is because what is this focusing your attention onto? Healing or damage?
100% healing.
Exactly. And as BAP, 100% healing is always bad. You never, as BAP, want to do 100% anything. You're always doing both simultaneously, right? So 50% healing, 50% damage. And if you do super jumps like this just out of nowhere, as a Mercy, it's fine to do this, right? As a Baptiste, you actually want to super jump only when your plan is to go on high ground. And other than that, do not super jump, right? Just don't do it. Like it's actually a waste. And there is a difference between the Mercy and this, which is why main support players, including me, got confused when I played both Mercy and Baptiste. I would super jump too much as Baptiste. I'd get sniped. I'd be in bad positions. I wouldn't be doing enough damage. See what I mean? Because the Mercy one is fine to spam. You're not dealing damage, right? But the Baptiste one, bad to spam. Okay. Anyway, yeah, this is focusing on your healing too much. And what should you be doing simultaneously with healing that you haven't really been doing? As I've just
Damage.
mentioned it. Yeah, damage, exactly. You haven't been damaging at all here. You might shoot right here. Yeah. Okay, you shot the bubble though. That's a bit of a problem. Okay. What do you think about this lamp?
A little unnecessary because no one's critical or anything.
It was the hog,
Probably
but if
just
the
the
hog
hog.
is critical, it doesn't matter. Who's the most important person to like lamp? I know. So if this lamp was in response to the enemy square, that's fine, right? But I think you threw it like a millisecond before the square, so I think it was like a bit late,
It was
right?
more because I saw the critical of the hog. But
Yeah,
definitely should have been
that's not
for
good enough. Hog
Arista.
can heal himself. If you
Yeah,
see the
no
critical of
worries.
Barissa, again, you don't need to, right? So this is the hardest part of BAP. It's knowing when someone is in critical danger or just critical HP. And Arissa could be in critical HP and just go around a corner and heal. And if she dies and in critical HP, right, that's her positioning was bad. But if Barissa is being pushed or an ultimate gets used, that's when you need to be thinking about using a lamp. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't panic as soon as you see critical and just spam the lamp. That's Orissa's are good. Good Orissa players will just go around the corner and wait to get healed. As long as you're healing, she knows how much damage she's going to take. The important part is it's when she's caught by surprise. So that'll either be an ultimate comes out, like the square, right? And she's caught by surprise, or she's got critical and the enemy stop pushing her and she's running away and she can't get away in time. That's when her lamp is good, right? Those are the main ones for your Orisa, right? Most other time, I know sometimes, they can make mistakes. And if they make a mistake, sometimes, you can throw a lamp. But trust me, mistakes are obvious. You would see it and you'd be like, okay, that was a mistake. If the Orisa's just standing here behind a corner and she's not getting pushed or anything, or no ultimates are being used, you don't need to lamp her, even if she goes critical. Just heal her, right? And if she does die, it's her fault, technically. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's a mistake she makes and like walks into a wall or something, technically it's her fault even if you didn't lamp it. I know you could have lamped it to counter the mistake, but it's not a habit you want to get into. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Lamp
Right?
one actually in like actual real danger and not just
Exactly. And it's the two things I mainly said. Can you think of one more? When's
One more.
real danger to like the Orisa or the Hog?
Other
That's like
than
surprise.
I
Or they
guess
can't stop. So what were the two
I'm-
ones I've
I'm
said so
just
far?
trying to- You said ultimates, right?
So when an enemy ultimate comes
window?
out like a square, and you don't, the Orisa and the tanks sometimes can't react to it quick enough because it just comes out of nowhere. Do you see what I mean? Even
Yeah.
if it's other ultimates as well, but a lot of the time the other ultimates you can react to. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Sigma ult, you can react to it. You're in the air for ages, you can just lamp as they come down. But when it's something like out of surprise element, that's when you've got to be ready for the quick lamp, right? Or the preemptive lamp, like here. Well,
Mhm.
not preemptive, it's kind of as he uses it. So that's the first one. So it's surprise ultimates or abilities as well also work. Surprise abilities that like do instant burst, right? But a lot of the time, your tanks can react to them, or it'll
Yeah.
be really obvious for abilities. Like if there's a high noon and your tank is in the middle of the street, you know that's a good lamp. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Right. A lot of the time it's obvious, but yeah. So that's the first one. And when's another good time to lamp?
I mean, I guess if the enemy team just speed boost into our
Yeah, it's getting pushed. When they're getting pushed and your tanks can't run away quick enough. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, what you need to realize as well is lamp can give people a sense of false security. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yep.
If you lamp like you have now, the Hog and the Orisa just start going in the open because they're like, oh, there's a lamp, I'm invincible. Then the lamp gets destroyed and they die really quickly. Do you see what I mean? So this is now down to where you place the lamp. Try and place the lamp, right? If you're using it to just block a quick ability, fine, you can place the lamp, but it might get destroyed. If you can try and place it behind a wall or something, even better. It's not necessary, right? Because the lamp doesn't last long enough anymore like it used to, but it can help your teammates from not getting lulled into like a full sense of security. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the lamp might get destroyed in a second by the enemies, especially with the square. So see what happens. So right now you can see the Orisa and the Hog know they're alive and know they're tanking it, so they jump back out even on critical HP. Right? How do you heal two tanks at once? By the way,
Just splash at their feet, I guess.
yeah, shoot in between them.
Like in
Why
between them,
is
yeah.
it harder in your current position?
Why is it harder?
Yep. Why is it harder with your current level of high ground?
Because I'm on the same level as them. If I was
Exactly.
above them, it would be much easier.
Now the Reinhardt's pushed in. Where's your a better position to go now where you can heal and damage?
On top.
Yeah, where that
I
pink
wanted to
tree
go
is. Where
earlier.
the pink tree was. Yeah. Where
Yeah.
the pink tree is. You can go there now. If the enemies start to push in and you can you always as Baptiste need to be aware of a position where you can super jump to and be able to shoot enemies and heal simultaneously. The reason why going up to that high ground like the window was bad before is because the enemies hadn't fully come in yet to the point. And if you would have gone up there, you wouldn't have been able to shoot and heal simultaneously. As soon as they keep up with this push, first of all, you lamp as they come in. And second of all, you can now super jump to high ground, and that allows you to like dodge, shatter, allows you to heal and damage at the same time. So you're as Baptiste, right? Being on low ground with your team, sometimes it has to be done. So sometimes it's essential, but it's always something you don't want to do. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
So sometimes you have to do it, but like before, where there was no good high ground spot where you could see and damage, so you had to be with your Orisa. But as soon as the situation changes, or one team moves forward and one team is back, when a team is rotating, you rotate with them and you go up to a high ground. That's all you have to do. See what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, also, like, if I was above right now on that high ground that we were talking about,
Yep.
I could also be shooting above the Rhine shield, which would pressure him to get back off, basically.
Oh, you mean the high ground, like the one in the window? The window.
Yeah, kind of.
I didn't even mean there. I meant where the pink tree was. But yeah.
Mhm.
The point is, as long as you're shooting the Ryan, it doesn't matter if you're shooting him or his shield, right? Sometimes shooting the shield is better if it means he backs off and gets scared. Because sometimes if you're shooting his body, he just knows he's going to get healed, whereas the shield can't get healed. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes shooting the shield can be even better. They're both situational in the times, right? But as long as you're shooting him and there's a position you're on high ground where you can shoot and heal between each, like both at the same time, right? That's fine. See what I mean? By the way, there's one really bad thing you used before. Actually, not okay. Before it was your shift, right? You saw you use your shift earlier. Remember when you were trying to save the mercy and you used the shift? Why do you think that was a bad use of shift? Do you want me to go back?
Because the Mercy I can either just right click or she'll just heal.
It was right here. See?
Yeah.
Why is that a bad use of shift? First of all, there's two reasons. The range of shift isn't that far.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
the
get the
range
mercy
isn't
there.
that far. And
The range of shift is actually quite short. It's like from you now to the Orisa, probably even shorter slightly, right? So
Mhm.
first of all, it wouldn't get the mercy, yeah, that shift there, and second of all, even if it
no
did,
one's in immediate danger.
sorry,
No one's in like real immediate danger.
exactly. Now a better shift was this one here. Well, actually, okay, it's not this one. Wait, I want to see when you use it. Actually, it's after your lamp. Let's rewatch this again. So the square comes out. Okay, so you do lamp the square. Actually, I just watched that again. So that's actually an okay lamp to do. This shift is good. Why is this shift good? Because you're healing 2 people at once with the
Yeah.
shift, right? And they're both on critical. Problem is, did you get this hog with this shift?
Probably not. They got
Yeah, I
LF.
don't think you did. It's a good question. We won't know the answer, right? I don't think you did, but you might have, right? Make sure when you're using shift, what's an easier way to get people that are around corners and stuff?
I would super jump right now.
Yeah, you
and
can
take
super
shift.
jump for that one shift use. Exactly. Right, good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he got it.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it. And he could die because of this. Basically, why did the Orisa die? The charge came out and she got it. Now,
Yeah.
that's not really your fault, right? And you were playing okay here. But what's one thing that could have kept her alive even further?
If I had held on to my lamp a little bit longer.
Yeah. But then again, holding onto that lamp, the square might have killed them if your tanks didn't react to it. Do you see what I mean? Right? So we don't really know. But basically, what's the one thing that's putting you at a disadvantage to the enemy? To the enemy, Baptiste. Sorry. What's one thing that's putting you more of a disadvantage to him? Who got the ult first?
He's doing damage. I'm not.
Who got the ult first? That's
He
it.
did.
Exactly. And he got your ult. He got his ult now, 25% earlier than you. Why do you think that is? I know sometimes, right? Sometimes it's not your fault. And in this situation, I would honestly say that, right? Why did he get his ult first? Because you guys are playing spam against Rush. Rush takes way more damage, and they don't do any damage to you when they're far away. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Right? So this is not your fault you got the ult first. But yeah, if you're dealing damage as well, you could have maybe like kind of got it at the same time as him if you were doing both damage and healing. But honestly, again, not really that much of your fault. Yeah. And the main reason you guys lost this is because your Hanzo died right here, right? And you don't know where he was. He might have needed healing. He might have needed help pressuring the echo. See what I mean? Right?
Yep.
And yeah, I know you were focused on trying to heal the tanks, and that's absolutely fine. The Mercy is the one that needs to be focusing on healing the DPS and helping them with the 1v1 engagements. See what I mean?
Correct.
Cool. So at the moment, it's absolutely fine. Oh, wait 2 seconds. So let's play this and just kind of like, wait, actually, dies here. Okay, yeah. Let's just skip to the next point.
Oh, no, I'm on Anna.
Oh, you're Anna. Great. So, what are the similarities between how you play Anna and how you play Bap?
Similarities?
Yeah. Oh, first of all, wait. Before even that, what has your team comps changed to?
I mean, it's not that brawl. I mean, we have the Rhine, so it becomes a little bit more brawly, but it's not.
It's called hybrid. It's hybrid.
Yeah,
it's a
it's the
spam rush
hybrid, yeah.
hybrid. Okay, so you need to know what's the point of hybrid comps.
Hybrid basically means we have in this situation, we have the advantages of spam since we have Hanzo, Mercy, and Orisa, and then we have also we can also brawl a bit since we have Kree, Rhine, and
That's the main point is hybrid
advantages of
comps
two.
can do both, whatever is better. Usually, right, what I find weird with your team now is usually teams do hybrid on first point, and on second point they don't do hybrid. Your team's done the opposite, which is going to be a struggle. I would recommend. Why is it best to start on hybrid on defense? Do you know the reason?
I mean, because
Yep.
it's a little bit. It'll cover like more of your defenses, I guess you could say. So like,
Yep,
we can
and
have the
on
spam
first
force
point
into
defense, what can't you do?
a swap.
Exactly, right? So that's why you usually play hybrid on first point defense, and on second point you can swap a lot easier, so you can just go full comp, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But your team did the opposite, which is a bit strange, but that's absolutely fine, right? Sometimes this can still work, okay? But since your team is a hybrid comp, okay, what beats Rush?
Spam, I guess.
Yeah, good spam. Good spam beats Rush.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you guys just played spam and lost, what should you do to beat Rush? What's the safe thing to do when you don't, the counter comp isn't winning against them? What can you do to beat them?
I guess
Mirror their comp.
like yeah.
Yeah,
Mirror
just
and
go rush.
maybe-
Just go rush. Right? See what I mean? Full rush. The problem now is you have half spam, half rush. So who's going to win?
I mean, they will.
Yeah, exactly. Because they can go full rush and beat your rush, or if you try and spam them out, you're just going to be weaker than before. See what I mean? But again, this is on paper. If you guys play it correctly, it won't even do that. It won't even work like that. But also as well, what's the problem? If you swap as well, you're going to lose ult charge. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
So, but that's okay because again, second point you can swap to the full comp anyway, just as long as you like hard counter them. The only problem is it's not really a hard counter. We'll see. Okay. By the way, what do you think of this position as Anna?
I mean, against what they're playing, it's not too great because if they rush the team, I'm also rushed.
Exactly. It's the same as the Baptiste logic, right? If they were spam, I would like this position with your team because then you don't get instantly killed being away from the shield. So if they're playing spam, you just play behind your shield. If they're playing rush, you play far away, right? And obviously, if you're playing dive, again, you play with your team as well, right? But again, if they're playing spam, you can play with one tank. If they're playing rush, you all play together. Sorry, if they're playing dive, you all play together. And if they're playing rush, you play far away. So where should you be?
Probably bottom right.
Yeah, bottom right next to the spawn door, right? And this means you can't, especially now because you know that they just want to fight. They have ultimates coming up, right? So you need to be far away from your team, who's going to be taking all the ultimates. So this position is really bad for you, and you saw what happened basically.
Yep.
They rush in because they know they have ultimates and advantage. Shatter comes out, you're dead, right? Simple as that. So this is your positioning mistake entirely, right?
Yep.
If you were basically down at the bottom left. See, even Mercy and Hanzo knew to kind of get like that off angle, but the reason they didn't kill people in time is because the enemies had ultimates and they just rushed in. They didn't wait a second to do it. So now you guys have to stall, pretty much. Okay, I don't know. Mercy should have flown and helped the Hanzo survive and just stalled him on point. But yeah, you don't even get a chance to play at Anna because you're just swapping to stall immediately. But do you see the main problem that your whole team did? They all went
All together.
where your tanks were, which is where all the ults are going to go when the enemy are playing rush. Do you see what I mean? You guys could win this. Let's see. I mean, do you want me to go through Lucio, or is this just a stall character?
It's a stock character.
Yeah,
But
so I don't
mean,
really need to go through him. I mean, you're playing him fine to stall anyway, like absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, can you see they just got ults
mostly.
to stop your stall, and you guys are stalling well. Oh, that is unlucky. That race
Yeah.
got cancelled by that charge. Where did he even come from? That's a bit mental. Anyway. So honestly, right, your Baptiste was a bit, not as efficient, but your main mistake here really was the Anna. And you know what to do on Baptiste now anyway, because I've just kind of been through his positions and stuff like that, okay? And also, what's the main issue? Do you remember what I've just said? The main issue with why you guys lost.
On my Baptiste or just in general?
In general. So as I said, your Baptiste was okay. Like it was pretty much fine, right? Yeah, you didn't do as much damage as you needed to, blah blah blah. But in like generally, it's fine. You did again. The lamp could have been saved, but again, fine in general. The main reason you guys lost is because your spam was weak. You didn't get any kills as they were rotating. There was no pulls I saw. There was no coordinated pulls, right? And so the damage just outgoing onto the enemy wasn't enough as they rotated through. So that was the first reason you guys lost. And the second reason you guys lost is because you didn't play hybrid on first point and you didn't play full comp on second point, right? You're playing the opposite of both. But honestly, spam counters rush, so you guys had the counter at first. But again, it depends on the map as well. Sometimes the maps are just way better for rush, and if the enemy rushers do it well, Hanamura can be better for them on attack. Now let's see how you guys do this. What's the first thing I'm going to say now?
The first thing?
Yep. Look at your team comp. What is it?
Rush.
Yep. Rush with... What about your supports, though?
Spam supports.
Yeah. This is really odd choice. Do you see what I mean? So why is the Mercy okay, though? in this scenario.
Because we have the Echo, I guess.
Exactly, right? But why Baptiste?
True. I think
The enemies did this, right? And it's very, very strange. Why is Baptiste good with Ryan Zarya? He isn't. He really isn't, right? The square is trash with Ryan Zarya, right? So much the worse than if it was. Who would you play Baptiste with?
Who would I play with? I would only play with like Orisa or
Yeah, pretty much
Sigma
Orisa.
Nova.
As long as the Orisa's in there, it's fine. So Orisa Sigma, Orisa Reinhardt, like you had on defense, second point, that's when Baptiste is fine. But again, you swapped off Baptiste the only time you had that. Obviously, you
Yeah.
had Baptiste for the Orisa, and that's absolutely fine, right at the start. But yeah, Baptiste, who's a better character to just go if you have this type of comp?
To just go in, since we have Reaper, I would probably go Moira.
Yeah, so not even with Reaper, I meant what's a better character to swap to since you have this rush comp? What's a
Either
better character to the
Ana,
Bap? Anna or Moira?
Ana, Moira, yeah.
Yep, exactly, right? Both of them are better. Anna is more offensive and Moira is more defensive. See what I mean? But also Moira's ult can be more offensive. But they are just infinitely better than a Baptiste there. You probably so basically before, when the enemies did this comp with Baptiste, if Baptiste is really strong in the current meta, then it's okay to do it, right? To play him. Sometimes Baptiste is sometimes characters are just so strong you even play them in weird comps just because they're like completely buffed. See what I mean? Right? It's just a lot of the time if they're all balanced and on paper, it's way weaker, especially in this scenario, to play like Baptiste with this rush comp. Just go Anna or Moira, right? Anna can allow you to your Reinhardt to win the rush fights, right? And Moira can allow you to play more defensive or rush in with your team, or just have a more like kind of defensive playstyle. Sometimes, right, if you know the enemies are going to be playing that spam, that's when Baptiste can be better, like you saw them do, because if you have Baptiste, you can spam them out more. But at that point, honestly, like, why not just go Lucio and full speed boost into them? Do you see what I mean? And then like
True,
don't even get them a chance. But then you have the Mercy, and the Mercy wants to stay with the Echo. So I can see why you would kind of play it, but in my opinion, Anna is just way better, right? The ult is way better. Imagine, right? You guys rotating, and as you're doing the rotation and staying on the point, you get Nano, and the Ryan runs into the enemy spam with Nano. How the hell do they kill that Ryan? They don't.
Yeah,
He just kills everyone. Whereas if the Baptiste uses square, they just hide around a corner. Like it doesn't win them the fight. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they won with it anyway, but that's kind of your tanks weren't really using cover that effectively. But anyway, let's see how you play this. And also, right, Square, how bad Square is with both Reinhardt and Zarya.
Oh yeah, I absolutely hate playing Bap with this.
It's just awful. Square is
Yeah.
so bad with both of those characters. Like,
Yeah, I very much dislike it.
yeah, that's fine. Like, if people are playing this for the meta, I mean, when was this scrim, by the way?
It's on the title. It was yesterday.
Okay, so people are trying stuff out, right? That's why people are trying stuff out, right? So there's no harm in that. Maybe it can be better. Maybe Baptiste is in a way stronger position than Anna. Play it anyway. It's just I'm thinking of the ultimates in terms of long term. Really nice kill from your Echo. Good shifts and good heals so far. Really good. Like the shifts you were using on cooldown, and you were getting it when like multiple people were low. It was you plus the Reinhardt. Yeah, you did that really well, and you got your ult really fast as well. Okay, and you were playing. Do you see how? You were the one of the reasons it was easier, by the way, is because you're on attack, and on attack there's way fewer high grounds, so you just usually Baptiste just stay on the ground or next to their team, and that makes it way simpler. Do you see? That's why Baptiste usually do better on attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas on defense, I mean, that's also why the enemy Baptiste charges ult faster when he was on attack. It's just way easier to play Baptiste on attack. On defense, you need to know every high ground, and you need to rotate almost perfectly if you want to play him well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you played to the right side angle like that, and while you guys were waiting. And also, one other reason why it's so easy is because both teams are rush, so there's no rotating or any of that stuff. Both teams are rush, and yeah, it's just easy to just heal and stand and like heal people. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, look how bad Square is with your team. Who does it boost? Like you. That's it. Doesn't even boost Reaper. Right, it's just so bad. If there is like the meta where Bap is super strong because he just squares himself and he just kills everyone himself, then it's fine, right? In that scenario. But yeah, it just really like the only reason I'm seeing that I think BAP is being played here is just because of his like massive amount of healing. But again, why wouldn't you just go Moira? You would get your ultimate faster anyway, and the ult would be
And it's
way
a better
better.
one.
See what I mean? Especially if they're playing Rush, Moira would be better here. See what I mean? If
Yeah.
they were spam, Anna would be better. If they were Rush, Moira would be better. If they were dive, again, even Moira would be better with dive as well. But yeah, again, this complete changes due to the meta. If Moira is trash because she's just been nerfed, right?
Yeah, then go
and BAP,
Ana or BAP, and then
yeah. But bear in mind, even nerfs don't make a character terrible. They can still be viable and good. It needs to be like a significant nerf that's actually like. So you lamp the square here again. Let's watch this actually again. Did you need to do that?
no, I was scared of the fire strike.
Did you hear the comms?
Yeah,
What was said?
to just LOS it.
Yep. Don't window then. Right? If the window's there and you see it and you guys okay, I'll give you a good example of when it's fine to not lamp a window. When there's loads of something.
Cover.
There's something on the map. It cover corners. That's it. Nice,
Yeah.
right? And there's loads of cover and corners there. By the way, you lamped for the Reinhardt. You didn't lamp for yourself. Watch it again. Do you see what I mean? Look at your positioning. You went in and out. You went in to lamp the Reinhardt. You went out because you thought you were going to go out, and then you went back in because you wanted the lamp. That's just mispositioning from you, and that's hesitating, right? If you would have just literally ran outside and then just hid and played like an angle where you could still heal the Reinhardt, you wouldn't have had to use lamp here at all. Because in my opinion, this is a wasted lamp. See what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
And now you're in a bad position. Why go right next to your Reinhardt here? You're Baptiste. Go outside with your Zarya and just heal them from outside into. See what I mean? You can still heal. Remember, you're Baptiste. You can still heal from far away, like or around like corners and stuff like that. Well, not really. Well, you can heal around corners, but not as well.
Yeah,
but
with
yeah,
the splash, kind of.
Sorry.
Kind of with the splash.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And but the point is, if you're outside here, you can still heal the Reinhardt because it can just go through in the door and to the left. Do you see what I mean? Though, like, kind of angle you like here.
Right
do you see this angle? You can still heal him and dodge the lamp at the same time. So yeah, that's why this lamp was also this lamp was just bad because first of all the enemies weren't ready; they weren't ready to use stuff, and second of all he's used it like in a doorway with all these corners that your team can take.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should have just gone outside here. Now you've had to use shift. This is a problem. Why? Because this is just a wasted shift for your team. This is a good square though because the enemies have committed, and you're squaring to push them back. So it's a really good square then. But that's their mistake. Why is that their mistake? What misplays did they make?
I guess just going in there and
They
not just
dropped
waiting.
down to shatter and failed the shatter. Why? Them dropping down is losing all the advantage they had. They're just losing high ground and they're going right into the enemies. And the only reason they did that was to shatter. That he missed the shatter because it got blocked, and now they're just at a massive disadvantage because they're at an ult disadvantage and they've lost their high ground. So that's why the square there was really good because there's nowhere else they could go from that position. So the square there was a brilliant reaction to them just going in, right? And it allowed them to die really quickly. Don't super jump here. Where can you go that's better?
Top left.
Yep.
Or even top right.
What I'm about to say to you now that you've just used.
The shift.
Why go in
Probably
and
out
use
of
shift?
range.
Yep, and also. Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was going to say I wanted to like drop down, shift, and jump up back onto high ground.
Oh, okay, fine. Also, actually, what I was going to say that I didn't see, this shift is not too bad because you're low on HP, right? And shifting, when you're in this position, by the way, let's go back. Let's imagine you're in a position like this, right? Where you're on a high ground, far away from everyone, right? And you're just providing this heal and damage from like a distance like this. When should you use shift? What for? To heal who?
I guess myself.
Yep, to heal yourself when you're getting dived, right? If you're getting dived by a tracer, what should you do?
Shift.
Just go to high ground.
Yeah,
No, go to a new high ground. If you're getting dived by someone like Echo, though, that's when you shift, right? And this is also good to save lamp for as well, right? But in this position where you're on the high ground, you're behind everyone, all you really need to do is BAP right, is to just right click and left click. That's it. You might need to use lamp or save lamp in case they use an ult or something big like that. But left click and right click usually is enough because your team is at the advantage. You've killed them and they're staggering. Do you see what I mean? So you can just save shift and lamp to keep yourself and someone else alive entirely, right? But usually yourself is the important one because the Mercy is going to be keeping other people alive and reviving. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Mercy is an important person to keep alive in this scenario. But yeah, okay, that's fine. So you shift and you went back up. I didn't see you were going to do that, and that's absolutely fine. Oh, your team nearly fell off there. That was really close. Good mix of healing and shooting, by the way. I want you to be shooting a bit more now, but yeah, good mix. The lamp was a bit panicky because you missed the heal, but because now you kind of need the lamp.
If I remember correctly, in this moment, I thought it was the enemies already.
But yeah, so you basically you didn't have a lamp for the grab, so then you ran down and press shift, and that's fine. That's fine to do that. If you don't have a lamp, you can run down and press shift. And yeah, remember I said about the res, you have a res, so it doesn't matter if someone on your team dies. This is looking scary though. What's the problem with your team currently? What's going wrong?
Not focusing down on a single target.
Yep, target focus. Listen to the comms.
Chaotic.
Cloud, just to let you know, it's 8.
Listen to it again. What's going wrong? And your whole team should know about this. Listen to the comms from now to the end. I want you to tell me what comms are good and what comms are bad, okay?
Okay.
As it comes up. Oh, wait, it's 8 o'clock. I need
to...
Yeah. Wait, hold on. No, that's fine, that's fine. I'm just going to tell the guy that I'm coaching next that I'll be like 5 minutes late and I'll just add on this time, 2 seconds, because I want to go through this really.
Okay.
Listen. Was that good or bad?
Calling out to focus to Mercy.
He said mercy first, mercy first. Did you hear it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. All I want you to say is it good or bad? I'm not saying it's one or the other. I just want to say, is it good or bad?
Good.
Yep. Good or bad?
I didn't hear. Where you just said mercy, mercy?
Yep.
Good.
Good.
It would have been better if someone else repeated it, but yeah.
Yep. Who else can repeat it?
One of the DPS. Or even me if I'm on them.
Yep. Yeah, if you're shooting at them, go. But notice something. Okay, Mercy died. But who were you shooting at before?
Echo.
Yeah. I know. I think he hadn't. Okay, he said Echo. That's why. Okay, and you were healing. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Literally, the moment he said Mercy, you were healing. Wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, I thought I had a lesson now. Apparently, I don't, so I can just do like a bit extra.
It's fine. We can schedule another session for the second. Well, pick this up in the second half of the map if you want. For you, Cake, if that's something you want to do.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Honestly, right, your Baptiste here is like, from what I've been watching, your Baptiste is fine. Sometimes you do panic or like super jump or think you're not going to miss something and then like panic lamp, panic shift, blah, blah, blah. Don't panic. Be more lenient with your use of your moves. You don't have to just spam them out or panic because you think you're not going to heal someone, blah, blah, blah. Go learn every high ground off by heart. You have to as Baptiste. You really have to. Okay? Every high ground off by heart, just so you kind of know exactly where you can jump to and the kind of angles that you can get to heal and damage at the same time, right? The actual positioning is good. And honestly, your squares that you had to use were good. Maybe what I haven't seen yet is you actually use a square first to use it to engage. And that's fine because there wasn't really a good scenario. It was when they engaged first, right? But as I've said before, playing Baptiste in this comp is just horrible, right? For the spam thing, I think the only problem, the reason why the enemies ran into you as Rush and didn't die is because you guys just weren't doing enough damage. And that does include you, right? You need to deal as much damage as you can while they're running up to you. the
During
biggest tip I can
rotation.
give you for the first one is as they're running up to you, you know, when you were the first defense that we watched, right? When you guys were full spam and the enemy was full rush, right?
Yes.
The biggest tip I can give you is just focus almost 90% on damage. You only need 10% for healing for the little like pokes that enemies take. But if they're doing massive long rotations, just damage, 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 damage. And what's the best thing to damage?
The Rhine Shield.
If they're running, yes. If there's someone not behind the Rhine Shield and you've got like communications, you can try and burst them down simultaneously with your team, right? But remember, Rhine Shield is not always the best because it might get your ult quicker if you don't shoot the Rhine Shield. It's very situational what's the best thing to shoot. And you kind of need to coordinate it with your team so you know what everyone is shooting. That's the most important thing, right? So you're all shooting the same thing no matter what it is. Okay?
Okay, so for example, if during a rotation we see like their Ana's lagging behind a little bit.
Yep. You can say Anna, and then you can call that out. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
You can say Anna, she's lagging behind, or something like that, or like go for the Anna.
Yeah.